Hi all, and welcome back to Table Tennis with Dove. Today I'm going to be showing you how I glue my and tape my paddle. Probably one of the most consistent things that every competitive player will do, no matter how you play with pips, with hard bat, whatever, is you have to replace your rubbers and your paddle every so often. Different players have different opinions. I personally don't enjoy the experience, but I think it's very important. I actually learned how to do this from talking with other competitive players and watching a very good video about it from Dmitry Ovcharov. Shout out Dima. But I think it's important for everyone to see how hard it is to actually do this. So anyways, thanks for watching and I hope you enjoy. So the first thing that we have to do is remove the old rubber. So now you've got your rubber off and you're presented with a new problem. I don't think you can see it here, but there are little bits of dry glue all over this paddle. So what you're going to want to do is take a wet towel like this one. You're just going to want to scrub all over it. Scrub it. And table tennis glue, it never, or at least almost never dries. So when you mix it with water, and it's water soluble, so when you mix it with a wet towel, it kind of dissolves into the towel. And what you get is a perfectly like new flat paddle. All right, so now comes one of the most important steps, which is putting the glue on your paddle and on your rubber. For this, I recommend using some kind of mat or something that you don't mind getting glue on, because the glue sometimes goes everywhere here. So for this, I'm using the cutting board that I will be using to cut my rubber later with an X-Acto knife. I know some players prefer scissors, but I highly prefer an X-Acto knife. So I have my blade here, and I have my unopened rubber here. Let's open it. And then we have here the Yinhe Moon Speed 53 Euro in 2.1 thickness in red. And, all right, so we have the rubber now, and we have the blade. We're gonna take some glue, not very much, but like some amount of glue, a little globule, let's say. We're just gonna rub it all over the blade. Rub it all over the blade. So I do multiple layers of glue. So the advantage, there are many advantages of this. The more glue you do, it increases the amount of power you get a little bit, which is good. And I also find that it allows me to glue the paddle, stop, and then glue the rubber, stop, and get stuff done in between. And then I can come back and finish it. All right, so we've spread the glue out on our paddle. Now we put the glue out here. Ooh, whoops, a little dry glue. Important. All right. Important note, don't lose this little plastic piece here. I have lost it before, and it is a pain to apply the glue. I poured glue all over my hands this morning without this plastic piece. All right, and then we're just going to spread it out. I tend to just, do lines, just do lines all over. See, this is where I say it can get messy, because the fastest and most efficient way is to just keep doing lines, right? But that means that this piece goes off, right? And then glue goes everywhere. You have to be a little bit prepared to get a little bit of glue on your hands for this one. I'm sure there are neater ways to do this, but I find the most effective way is to do this. I also am discovering that this rubber, the Yinhe Moon Speed 53, is really not good for gluing. Some rubbers, the glue just spreads and then it soaks in and it's perfect. And this rubber, it's sticking and it's not doing it. And so now we just sit and we let it just sit like this, and it will dry for 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll apply one more layer of glue, and then we'll attach it.
Fifteen minutes later.
Okay, now our rubber is fully dry. You can tell by if you go like this and it doesn't stick, then it's fully dry. So now I'm gonna put on my next layer of glue, And then before it dries, I'm going to apply the rubber with a little roller. Some players choose to let this glue almost fully dry before they put it on. I find that it's just too slow and that it doesn't actually produce a better result, so I put it on faster. But to each their own. Let's get a nice even coat. Then we're gonna take our rubber, okay? Take it like this. We're gonna stick just the first piece with all the text on it, okay? Just as a way to stick it to the paddle so you don't have to hold it down. And we're gonna take some kind of round object. I actually have a roller that I bought off Amazon for table tennis, but I've used wine bottles, I've used oil bottles. You can use anything round to do this. Then you just roll it out. Roll it out again. And all right, now your rubber is on. There are many different ways to keep it on. Some people prefer to put it down, put some weight on so it can fully dry because you need to keep it on fully while it dries. I prefer a different way. So here's my way of doing it. This is the most rich, stupid, useless way, but I found it online and I couldn't resist. This is a $40 piece of wood essentially, which is just a clamp designed specifically for paddles to hold it at equal pressure around all of it to hold it together while it dries. But to put it in here, unlike with the other method, you have to cut it first. So let's cut it. So there are many different ways to do this. I prefer an X-Acto knife. You should basically always use a new blade. Unfortunately, I did not have a new blade for this video, so my cut will not be perfect, but you should never ever do that. Okay, so you just take the blade. Okay, so we're just gonna leave this for another 15-20 minutes, and then we're gonna apply the tape.
15 minutes later.
All right, it's been a few minutes and hopefully our glue will have dried enough for this last final step. Oh, side note, never leave your glue uncovered. It will dry out and then you will have wasted this. This glue is very expensive and also don't waste. It's bad for the environment or whatever. It's bad enough to use the glue to begin with, but it's so much worse to waste it. Like this morning when I accidentally poured half the bottle over my hand. That was very wasteful and I regret that deeply for many reasons. But okay. Our rubber is glued. You can see that it's even with no imperfections in the rubber. So the last step is taping. So I'm using butterfly tape, even though I don't think there's any chance Butterfly would ever sponsor me. But I use butterfly tape because it's what I bought at the US Open. And also, to be fair to them, I use a Dunk Super ALC. This is actually my backup blade, but a Dunk Super ALC and Dignix 09C and Dignix 05 normally on the blade, so it feels fair to use their tape, even though I find their tape a little bit ugly, if we're being honest. Okay, so you want to take your tape, you want to line it up on one of the corners. It doesn't really matter which, but line up on one of the ends, right? And just put it down really securely, put it down. And then you can just sort of, oops, see, I didn't secure it enough. That is my fault. That's also my problem with Butterfly's tape. It's not as sticky as the other ones. The advantage of that is it doesn't pull off as much rubber when you take it off. Okay, then you want to pull really tight while you do this gluing. You can see how it's it's already indenting into the paddle, like it's pulled really, really taut. You need that, or otherwise it will come off because dust will get in the crevices and whatever. And this tape is really important because, well, one, it protects your rubber against side damage and your paddle against side damage. Like you can see the little damages here. Most of that is from before I started taping this paddle, which is a big mistake. It also makes your paddle more identifiable. And honestly, it's just, it's a nice style choice. Some players choose, though, just for the protection part, to only put the tape over the little bits of the paddle like here, where you're most likely to accidentally hit it against the table. I prefer to just tape the whole paddle. I think it's a nicer look, and it's just the way I do it. And all right, and now we have a completed paddle with an entirely new backhand, which is the Yinhei Max Tense Moon 53 Euro in max thickness. I'm gonna test it out for a video coming soon, so like and subscribe to see that video and all my future ones. Thank you so much.